Alrighty, good morning guys. Just doing another video on this 48 Ford F4. It's been 6 days of these cylinders soaking and still no sign of spinning over. So today I went and picked up some alternative parts. You know, sun glare is amazing. So I picked up a 302. Just needs honed out, and I'm going to throw some rings and bearings. A T18, I think it's a T18, it might be a T19, 4-speed. The great thing is, the guy I got these parts from has a 51 Ford F1, and we're actually putting that on a 06 Crown Vic chassis, and somebody had already swapped that truck to a 351 at some point. So we have these adjustable transmission cross member and the engine cross member, and they weren't permanently fitted to his truck, like they had just mocked it up. So I believe when you install these, you drill your holes in the frame, you do all the stuff. Once everything's mocked into place, you tack it, because this can slide in and out for different frame widths. So once everything's mocked up, you tack it in, you take it out, you finish weld it, and then you permanently bolt them in. And these were never done, they were just loosely bolted in. So I got that from them. Got some long tubes. I'm assuming it'll fit because there's tons of space in this engine bay. But the heads were redone by Napa, but the only downside is they were done, you know, about 10 years ago, and they've just been sitting in the bag. So got some surface rust to knock off, stuff like that. But I mean, looks like they did. You know, new valve stem seals. They're kind of goofy. You get valve stem seals. I've never seen them like that. But the engine came out of a 74 van or something like that, so not a real high performance engine, but you know, I just couldn't pass the deal up. And it looks like, you know, somebody's kind of maybe done a little bit of work to them. So just a quick little update about what I'm going to be working on this week, I guess. Probably get this motor honed out, re-bearing, re-ringed, put back together, clean the heads up. Edelbrock Performer 289 intake manifold. I mean, it looks like the block was hot tanked and cleaned. At least got a new, what do you call that? It's not a frost plug, because that's where the cam sits, but whatever. It looks like the oil pump's new. I mean, it looks like it's all at least been hot tanked. You know, you can see the paint. Yeah. So it's not like it was just pulled out. But I definitely got to hone it. It's not stuck or anything like that. But just a quick little video. Thanks. Bye. Alright, just starting to go through the parts I got to do this engine and transmission swap. And I originally had this transmission a few years ago for a 73 F250 with a 390 I was working on, and for some reason I thought this was a T18, but now that I actually glanced at it for a second, I noticed it has a PTO on both sides, or provision for a PTO on both sides. So the T18s are the older ones. They only have PTO on the passenger side. T19s have them on both sides. So that's good because T18's synchro is only in second, third, and fourth, and first and reverse or non-synchronized. So you know you get that little grind when you put it in gear. But and T19's were synchroed in every gear. So that was the improvement on that. The T19, which this is, came in 3 different ratios. There was like a 6.8 to 1, a 5.2 to 1, and a 4 to 1. So, just real quick, show you guys the easiest way. Just mark on your output shaft and mark on your input. So basically, one rotation of this rear output shaft, you just count how many times your little marks go by. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the 5th one, and we're just lined up there, and it's just passed. So this is the 5.2 to 1 first gear ratio. I really wish these things had overdrive on them, but it is what it is. This is the easiest and most feasible option I have for a transmission right now. I guess this truck came with a T98, which is, I guess physically pretty similar to the 18s and 19s, so that should be good as far as swaps go. Hopefully the tranny mount and stuff like that, and the location of drive shaft and everything like that works out pretty good. This truck actually has the heavy duty drive shaft brake, I guess you'd call it. It's basically a big drum assembly that goes right at the rear of the transmission. And there's this big lever you pull back, and that just puts the shoes against that drum to lock the drive shaft up, to kind of be the parking brake, since there is no kind of emergency brake set up on the drums or anything like that. So just a little update on parts progress. Thanks. Just going over numbers, verifying everything I think it is. It is. I was told it came out of a 74 van, like an Econoline. The heads are D3UE, which is 73 Econoline van. So those are correct, but the odd thing is the engine block is D4DE, which is 74. D would be a Falcon, and it's a 302. The 6015AA just means 302. That's just the run series of the engine. And then the rods are D10E, which is 71 Torino. So, all original Ford parts so far, but not all original to the engine. Sometimes you'll get like the 73, 74, if it's in a 74 van and there was leftover castings. That was kind of typical. I don't know if all the way back to 71 if the rods still would have been used, but still got to do some digging. I'm gonna take it all apart, see what I got, so I can get parts ordered. Okay, so for the disassembly part, I'm gonna take 2 bolts off, remove the oil pump. There should be a little intermittent shaft in there that goes down to the distributor. It might be out. And then I'm going to take the nuts off of these rod caps, knock the pistons out. Once all the rods and pistons are out, I'm going to take the bolts off for the main bearings, take those off, take the crankshaft out. Well, I'll have to take that front sprocket off, take the chain off, take the crank out. I will probably pull the cam out just to verify the bearings in there are in good shape.
I want to see it turn. See, even with the mismatched parts, it relatively cranks well.
They are all correct for a 302. Oil pump removed. So, impact. I only use this for disassembly. On reassembly, I do everything by hand with ratchets. So there's no chance of over torquing or torquing unevenly. So since parts are going to be replaced, it's okay to disassemble with an impact. Okay, got the engine all tore apart. Only thing remaining, frost plugs, cam bearings, half of a remaining seal. So everything looked pretty good coming out. They are some sort of aftermarket piston. Definitely not. The rods are original. The pistons are not. So I should be able to look that part number up. So this engine is 20 over. No. 30 over. Let's say I thought it was 30 over. So.
I'm going to show them the markings on the side.
Let's say.
On this.
Oh. Yeah. Cool little. I'm assuming this was done by a machine shop. I've never seen this on a Ford engine. So 1 dot, 1 dot. Cylinder 1. 8 dots, 8 dots. Cylinder 8. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm assuming they're just like a Engine Labs or whatever, Engine Tech 30 over. I'll have to look that up. A little bit of a dish to them, some valve reliefs. But original rods, they should clean up just fine. Get some new 30 over rings. So since this engine does have parts that are mismatched, I'm assuming Obviously it's had pistons, obviously it's been bored, obviously somebody took the time to mark the rods with the pistons. There's no ring ridge whatsoever. There's no ridge at the top of these cylinders at all. Cylinders look fine, nothing major. The lifter bores look fine as well. And like I said, no signs of oil leaks on the block. I mean, I don't know if it got cleaned up after it was removed or if it was just that recent of a rebuild. Who knows? Maybe they got wrecked. Whatever happened, happened. But so far, good donor. I guess this would be a good point to kind of go over the direction that we're going with for right now on this truck. So for right now, I think we are just going to do low budget, get it on the road, kind of shade tree repairs, run out machine shopping, any parts, everything we took out is well enough. New rings, new bearings, new gaskets, drop it in. Kind of want to get it on the road cheap, get it on the road quickly, but have a good base. It's a rebuilt engine. It'll be reliable, and then down the road, if we choose, put aluminum heads on, kind of hop it up from there. And there shouldn't be any limitation. We should be able to get the oil pan out from under this when it's in the vehicle. So if we do want to change the crank, rods, pistons, shouldn't be no big deal. And
Or you can take apart the original motor.
I will take apart the original motor just so we can look at it. I guess I got that kind of time.
I'm just curious.
It is interesting. So I will probably take that. I will probably pull the engine by itself, drop the transmission out the bottom, and then this coming weekend is Thanksgiving, so I've got 6 days off. It's Monday before Thanksgiving. I want to get this torn apart, make sure everything was good on this, so I get all the parts ordered. So maybe by Monday or Tuesday I'll have parts, blow this back together, start mocking it up with those custom transmission mount, motor mount, assembly, K-member, whatever you want to call it. And then once we get all figured out, position, I'm hoping since this transmission is very similar to the one that's going in, I can probably just leave the original cross member, and then that'll tell me where the motor should land. But